The Great Truth About Prayer, Murdo MacDonald-Bayne. In this letter I want to bring to your notice the great truth about prayer. Now prayer is the most common thing in the world, yet it is the least understood. All people engage in it no matter what creed or color. It is unfortunate, however, that the masses are still steeped in idolatry and superstition and have no real understanding of what they are worshipping or praying to, and this is mainly the cause why prayers are not answered. Jesus said, "You are worshipping something you do not know. We are worshipping what we do know." The real worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. God is spirit, and his worshippers must worship him in spirit and in reality. There is only one Creator, life. And we are told that in the beginning there was only God. I'm the only one, and there is none other beside me. St. John tells us that the Word was in the beginning, that the very Word was with God, and God was that Word. And the Word was made flesh. When we begin to think, we see clearly that there is only one infinite mind that fills boundless space, and there can be no outside this mind. All must be in it and of it. Paul says, "We live and move and have our being in him." This is very difficult for those who are steeped in idolatry to comprehend, yet it is an absolute truth. The similarity is seen in electricity. The electric current that leaves the powerhouse at a tremendous voltage is the same electricity that reveals itself in light and power. The only difference is the degree. The quality is the same. So is the same life in God expressed in us, proving the inseparable link we have with our Father, Mother God, the supreme power of the universe. So in seeking to understand prayer, we must realize the fundamental unity relating us with God. And without this permanent unity, God would not be infinite. Therefore we identify ourselves one life that is all, in all. It has been the lack of this understanding that has led to doubts and the varying beliefs, which causes separation and strife, and therefore makes prayer futile and ineffective. Science has proved that matter or solid substance can be dissolved into energy and becomes invisible, and this energy fills all space. Commonly called ether of space, which permeates everything, and out of this invisible substance ether all things are made. Now this ether of space can be none other than an expression of the infinite mind which fills boundless space, and the final conclusion all thinking minds must come to is that spirit creates the world and flesh by becoming the world and flesh. That is why the prophet told us that the Word was with God, and God was the Word, and the Word was made flesh. We see clearly that the Word is the presence of God in us, and that the body is the substance of God, for we are also told that the body is the temple of the living God. Now prayer, to be effective, must be expressed with this understanding. That is why Jesus said, "You are worshipping something you do not know, but we are worshipping what we do know." Therefore prayer is not a petition, a demand, or a command, but is a process of divine cooperation, opening up to receive the divine blessings that are ever being mediated to every living soul from the great source of life and love. It will be observed that to repeat a prayer or read one parrot fashion is of little value in gaining this blessing, when the essential thing is that the heart should feel truth, for where the heart is set, the mind does not wander. If your prayer is to be effective, you must realize that God is not a deity that is external to yourself and far from your reach, and that you have to beseech him to come from a great distance and with the doubt that he may ever reach you. You must realize that God is your Father and Mother, the very essence of the one life that sustains you and makes you a conscious living being. To become conscious of this essence of love redeems us all. Jesus was the greatest exponent of the power of prayer, and his attitude gives us the key. The Father and I are one. It is the Father who ever remaineth in me who is performing his own deeds. Know ye not that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? The eternal fundamental principle inherent in all things is attraction. Love attracts love, hate attracts hate, thoughts attract their kind. It is because of this great principle that every philosophy, every religion, and every science has proclaimed love the highest attainment, because through it all things are possible, it being the only reality. To love is to feel, and to feel is the moving force behind thought. Hate carried the germ of its own destruction, but in its destruction it carries with it sorrow and misery. But thoughts impregnated with love become invincible. And it is this principle that gives us the dynamic power and mastery over every adverse human experience. Paul tells us above all else to make love our aim, for it overcometh all things. Jesus said, "As the Father hath life then in himself, so he grants the Son to have life in himself." This is the all-creative life in us, To become aware of this enables us to pray with understanding, and through our awareness of the Father united in ourselves, whatever we ask the Father will produce. But this law is to be applied, otherwise it will not work. Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss. James the Apostle also says in similar words that we must use faith with never a doubt, for the doubtful, double-minded person can never get anything from the Lord. There are too many organizations that thrive on sin and too many preachers concentrating on the evil in the world. We want an abundance of preachers who can love only the good and preach it, then evil, having no substantiality, will fade into nothingness. Jesus says to us, "Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemies, but I say unto you, love your enemies and bless them that curse you. Do good unto them that hate you, and pray for them that despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be children of your Father which is in heaven. Evil is in man's mind, and those who dwell upon it reap plenty of it." How can you pray to a Father of love if you have hate in your heart and evil in your eyes? To approach the Father you must approach him in spirit and in truth. One must look into one's own heart and there discern the cause of one's own misery. Are you generous and big, or are you selfish and small? You cannot be a kind person if you are kind to one and unkind to another. You cannot be a loving person if you love one and hate another. Listen to what the man of Galilee says to you: "Give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure pressed down and shaken together and running over shall men give unto your bosom. For with the same measure that ye mete withal shall it be measured to you again." And again, if you only love those who love you, what credit is that to you? The simple fact that 2 and 2 makes 4 is an eternal truth. The spiritual and mental laws are fixed with the same exactitude. They are as simple and accurate as the laws of mathematics. Your attitude of mind will produce similar results. The two are inseparable. So when you pray, pray with understanding, knowing that the presence that dwells within is eternally linked with the eternal presence that created the universe, who has become what he made. Within ourselves then are the attributes of God, and before you come into communication with this divine presence, dwell upon the love, the wisdom, and the greatness of this presence, then identify yourself with it, and as you raise your consciousness to the Christ level, there shall you find him in all his glory and power within yourself. Riches and honor are with me, then yet durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. Proverb 8:18-19. Benediction. O divine essence of love, wisdom, and healing, we have attuned ourselves to thee, thus making our life a continuous source of joy to ourselves and pleasure to others. Thy fountain of eternal bliss intoxicates us day and night, and as we dissolve into thy presence to become thy presence, so do we feel thy indescribable beauty and love. As we inhale and exhale thy divine breath, so do we receive and give to others thy healing balm. O divine nectar, we have found you at last, and shall now and forever task thy sweetness. Peace be with you. Yours sincerely, 𝗦 MacDonald-Bayne.